after receiving the sapling of the Bodhi tree and hold it in my hand, walking from the Sri Mahabodhi to the sacred stupa of relics, which is my second time here in this site. And this time is different, with this much of support and love. And behind me is the art of work. I think it took a lot of time and effort to make this art, to offer to the Walk for Peace team. We're very honored and grateful for that. I am just one of the monks among with 100,000 and millions of monks around the world. He is my teacher. And there I have my disciple. I ordained to become a monk now 17 years. 17 years, not too long. I'm still a baby. But I made a big vow for myself to build this sacred site called Damachetia, the ancient sacred scriptures, stupas, of 840 stupas in stone total in United States on 14 acres of land, 7 hectares, to preserve the Buddha teachings, to propagate the Buddha Dhamma, to spread it all over the world. And my vow is for that project to last for 1,000 years, for many future generations to come. I made that vow silently for 7 years under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, India. Silently make that vow for 7 years. Nobody knows. Until 2020, end of 2020, I practiced meditation in Myanmar. And my teacher called me back to handle the conflict of the land. And then I came back to United States to take care of that matters. I took 1 year patiently to work on that. And finally, I was be able to bought that land back for the temple from a charter school. And that is the time where I kneel down in front of my teachers to express my vow that because of so long that I have learned and listened to the Dhamma talk online, and I have found a lot of misleading teachings online that always claim this is the Buddha teaching. But obviously, it is not. At the beginning, I found myself that I also lost in those teachings as well. And from there, I was keep thinking, what should I do to preserve the true Dhamma? Until I came to India first time, and I made that vow to build the sacred site, to engrave all the scriptures of the Buddha in Pali on stones, to preserve it, just like in many generations, in past generations, that many kings have done that. And then once I expressed my vow to my teachers, those are 7 years. And then took me 3 years to speak out that vow now is over 10 years total, from the beginning until speaking it out to the public, over 10 years. This is a very difficult journey for a baby monk like me. This project costs about 200 million USD. And we don't have anything. Buddhist monks, we don't have anything. But I still try my best to do that because I believe in the Dhamma. And behind me, I always have my teacher to support me so that I can lean back. I can lean on. Obviously, I ran into so much challenge from brother monks, lay devotees, other religions. Talk a lot about this project is a waste and things like that. But I still strongly stick with my vow on this project. Regardless of what people said, I still do it even if I have to sacrifice my life. And for that reason, in front of 180 venerable monks on that sacred site, I kneel down in front of the Mahasangha and over 3,000 of lay devotees, and I made a vow in front of the Mahasangha. I said, if within this lifetime, if I'm lack of merit, I cannot finish this project, I wish that I can reborn and reborn and reborn to continue that project until I get it completed. And from there, I travel around the world, travel around the United States and the world, and India, to talk about this project, to call for support. Because I want all the people in this world to be part of this project, even a very little support, even just a very little. I would love for them to be part of this project. That project is not mine. It's not my teachers. It's not our temple project, but it's Buddhist project. It's our project. For that reason, we travel a lot. Even sometimes we spend a lot of money on flying with the whole team. And after the talk, after the fundraising, we collect the donation is much less than what we spent for traveling. But we're still happy because we be able to support a lot of homeless to contribute to this project. A lot of poor people was be able to offer a little token to this project. That filled my heart. 10 years already, over 10 years, this project is still, we was be able to fundraise like only probably less than 5% of the project. And we want to start the main stupa next year. We will do it. And with the support of the Mahasangha around the world, with the blessing, I truly believe that we can do this together. And for that reason, is because I have seen so much suffering around me. People are suffering not just materialities, but mentally suffering. There were so many people came to the temple to seek for help because of anxiety, because of stress, because of depressions. And wherever we travel, we encounter those lives. And there's time that I ask myself, what can a Buddhist monk do to help? And then that is when I made a vow to build a project and made a vow to walk for peace. To raise the awareness of peace that is always with us. Peace have never left us. It's just that we have locked that peace into one of the casket and left it somewhere, and we've forgotten. We only live with suffering. Our whole life suffer with so much things. Families, job, health, a lot of things. And a lot of triggerings from people out there. Every time when somebody triggers us, we react and then we whole suffer. That's what we've been doing for our life. But it's not supposed to be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. We deserve better. But we don't know how to unlock that box. Where did we left that box? How to unlock it? We just continue chasing the outside world and the materialities, and then we forgot everything. We just live with suffering. That is the reason why me, along with all the venerable monks who walk for 2,300 miles across the United States, to raise that awareness, to hand the key to all the people who we have met. And here today, I would love to hand you that key as well. To unlock that box that is already been with you, but you left it, you abandoned it, you ignored it. How do you unlock it? All you need to do is just slow down. Don't chase anything. Don't chase the world. Materials, technologies now is rising high, and we always chase after. We ran out of patience. In the morning, we rush out the house. We rush to eat. We rush to come home and then cook, eat, washing dishes, go to sleep, and in the morning we rush out that house again. We repeated that every single day of our life. Now all you have to do is just slow down. Sometimes you just need to hold your heart with your hands. Let us all put your left hand out over your heart, left hand over your heart, and right hand on top of left hand. Close your eyes. Let's just close our eyes. And then feel that heartbeat. Give yourself a smile. Love yourself some more. If you be able to slow down and let go of all the things, just to hold your heart, give your child, your inner child, some love, you will be happy and peaceful. And then, practice the mindfulness technique of breathing meditation every day. By this nostril area, when you breathe in, there's an air going in. You breathe out, the air going out. All you need to do is just aware of that air, that breath going in, aware of that breath going out. Just by this nostril area. Just aware of it. Pay attention to it. Once you have thought, observe it, acknowledge it, come back. Once you have any type of feelings, observe it, acknowledge it, come back. to the breathing. Any type of noise, any type of sound, just observe it, acknowledge it, come back to your breathing. That is how you train yourself to have a concentration, to have concentration. Each and every time you practice, you build up that concentration, that focus. And now, your daily life, you practice that way. You're always mindful with your breath, mindful with anything happen within our head, within this body, and the outside world when it comes. Then you will not react that quickly anymore. Then you will not suffer. It's because you always react so quickly, and then you hold regret. That is suffering.
In the quiet stillness of a spring evening, beneath the vast starlit canopy over Anuradhapura, Sri Lanka, the Ruwanwelisaya Mahastupa rises like a gleaming white mountain against the night sky. It is a place where time seems to fold in on itself, where the ancient world breathes quietly alongside the modern one. Imagine standing there feeling the residual warmth of the day radiating from the ancient stones beneath your feet, the air thick with the scent of jasmine and the low rhythmic hum of chanting. In this sacred space, a solitary figure, Venerable Bhikkhu Pannakara, walks gently, his hands cupping a tiny fragile sapling of the Bodhi tree. This is not just a plant. It is a living symbol of awakening, a descendant of the very tree under which the Buddha found profound liberation centuries ago. As he carries this sapling from one sacred site to another, his steps are deliberate, mindful, and heavy with a beautiful kind of purpose. It is a profound metaphor for the human journey. We are all in our own ways carrying a delicate seed of peace within us, walking through the landscape of our lives, searching for the right soil in which to plant it. Yet so often we forget what it is we are holding. We look at the world around us, the noise, the demands, the relentless pace of our modern lives, and we assume that peace is something we must acquire, something we must travel far to find, or something we must purchase. But the truth, as ancient as the stones of the stupa, and as immediate as your next breath, is that true peace is not a destination. It is your inherent birthright, a quiet sanctuary that has been dwelling within you all along, simply waiting to be remembered. To understand the depth of this inner sanctuary, we must first understand the power of a quiet promise. In a culture that constantly demands we broadcast our every thought, achievement, and intention to the world, there is something deeply radical about silence. For 7 years, Venerable Pannakara held a monumental vow within the silent chambers of his own heart. Sitting beneath the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya, India, he made a quiet, personal commitment to build the Damachetia, a magnificent sanctuary in Fort Worth, Texas, featuring hundreds of stone stupas engraved with the ancient texts of wisdom designed to last for 1,000 years. For 7 years, no one knew of this dream. He simply allowed it to take root, to grow strong in the dark, fertile soil of his own silent dedication. This act of quiet cultivation is a profound lesson for us all. Think about the dreams, the hopes, and the vows you hold for your own life. Perhaps it is a vow to be a more patient parent, to forgive an old hurt, to find a career that honors your spirit, or simply to learn how to love yourself. How often do we rush to share our fragile new intentions with the world, only to have them trampled by the skepticism of others or the harsh winds of our own impatience? The Venerable's journey teaches us the beautiful art of spiritual gestation. When we discover our deepest purpose, we do not need to shout it from the rooftops immediately. We can nurture it in the quiet warmth of our own mindfulness. We can let our intentions mature, building the inner strength necessary, so that when the time finally comes to speak our truth into the world, It is grounded, unshakable, and deeply rooted in a peace that cannot be easily disturbed. Of course, no true journey of the heart is without its fierce storms, and stepping out of silence into action requires a courage that is frequently tested. When the Venerable finally knelt before his teachers and voiced his 10-year vow, bringing the dream of a $200 million sanctuary into the light, he was met not just with celebration, but with a tidal wave of doubt. He was a young monk, a baby monk, in his own humble words, with no financial resources to speak of. Skepticism rained down from all sides, from fellow monks, from laypeople, from those of other faiths, who saw the project as an impossible, wasteful endeavor. It is a poignant mirror for our own lives. Whenever we dare to step outside the familiar, whenever we commit to walking a path of peace or profound personal change, the inner and outer critics inevitably rise up. The world will tell you it is too expensive, too difficult, too impractical, or that you are simply not enough. Your own mind might whisper the same fears in the quiet of the night. But the mindfulness approach to these storms is not to fight the wind or scream back at the thunder. It is to find your roots and hold fast. The Venerable leaned on the unyielding support of his teacher and the profound clarity of his own conviction, stating that he would pursue this vow even if it meant returning lifetime after lifetime until it was complete. When we are anchored in our deepest truth, the criticisms of the world become like passing clouds. We acknowledge them, we see them, but we do not let them dictate the weather of our internal landscape. We simply keep walking step by mindful step, trusting the validity of our own sacred vows. As we continue to walk our path, despite the doubts and the staggering heights of the mountains, we must climb. A beautiful phenomenon begins to occur. We realize we are not walking alone. The tapestry of human grace begins to reveal itself in the most unexpected places. In his tireless travels across the United States, to raise awareness for this monumental project, the Venerable and his team found themselves connecting not just with the wealthy or the powerful, but with the forgotten and the marginalized. The most touching moments of this journey were not massive corporate endowments, but the crumpled dollar bills and handfuls of coins offered by the unhoused and the impoverished. People who had virtually nothing materially were moved to offer what little they had to be part of a vision of peace. This shatters the illusion of separation that so often plagues our modern society. We are conditioned to believe that our worth is tied to the size of our bank accounts, the prestige of our titles, or the visible impact we can make. But these quiet acts of extraordinary generosity remind us that the human heart is wired for connection and contribution. Every single person, regardless of their circumstances, harbors a deep, aching desire to be part of something beautiful, something greater than themselves. True wealth is not measured in currency, but in the expansiveness of the spirit. When we recognize this, our interactions with the world transform. The barista who hands you your morning coffee, the stranger you pass on the street, the colleague who tests your patience, they are all carrying their own heavy burdens, yet they all possess the same innate capacity for grace. Recognizing this shared vulnerable humanity softens our judgments and opens our hearts, weaving us back into the beautiful, interconnected fabric of life. Yet despite this profound interconnectedness and our shared capacity for love, we look around and see a world drowning in an ocean of mental and emotional suffering. We see it in our communities, in our homes, and in the mirror. Anxiety, stress, and depression have become the baseline hum of modern American life. We have become victims of our own relentless momentum. The Venerable offers a heartbreakingly accurate description of our daily reality. We wake up in a panic, we rush out the door, we rush through our meals, we rush through our work, we rush home to manage our chores, and we collapse into bed only to repeat the exhausting cycle the very next day. In this endless chase after material security, technological advancement, and societal approval, we run out of patience and we run out of breath. It is as if we have taken the most precious thing we own, our inherent peace, locked it in a heavy wooden casket, abandoned it in a forgotten corner of our minds, and promptly lost the key. We spend our lives desperately searching the outside world for relief, buying more, doing more, scrolling, more hoping that the next achievement or distraction will finally fill the hollow ache in our chests. Every time the world triggers us, we react with sudden anger, deep sorrow, or paralyzing fear, adding more weight to the suffering we already carry. But it does not have to be this way. We deserve so much better than a life lived in a state of constant emergency. The suffering we experience is not a life sentence. It is simply a symptom of our profound disconnection from ourselves. The key to the locked casket of our peace has not been destroyed. It is simply waiting for us to stop running long enough to pick it up. So how do we stop running? How do we unlock the casket and reclaim the peace that we have abandoned for so long? The answer is startling in its simplicity yet. It requires the bravest thing a modern human being can do. We must slow down. We must intentionally step off the treadmill of constant doing and allow ourselves simply to be. The Venerable offers a practice that is so tender, so incredibly accessible, that it bypasses the busy intellect and goes straight to the core of our humanity. Right now, wherever you are reading this, I invite you to try it. Take your left hand and place it gently over your heart. Now place your right hand softly on top of your left. Close your eyes. Drop your awareness down from the buzzing hive of your thoughts and into the warm, quiet space beneath your palms. Feel the steady, miraculous rhythm of your own heartbeat. Thump, 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 thump. Pay full attention to it. This heartbeat is the drumbeat of your existence, a rhythm that has been with you since before you were born, keeping you alive without you ever having to ask. In this moment, give yourself a gentle inward smile. Offer yourself the love, the compassion, and the grace that you so readily pour out for everyone else in your life. We are all walking around with a frightened, exhausted inner child who just wants to be told that they are safe, that they are loved, and that they can rest now. When you slow down enough to physically hold your own heart, you are telling yourself, I am here. I am with you. You don't have to run anymore. This simple act of deep mindful self-compassion is the key turning in the lock. It is the beginning of true, lasting peace. Once the casket is open, the practice of maintaining that peace becomes a daily, gentle discipline, anchored by the most loyal companion we have, our breath. The ancient mindfulness technique of breathing meditation is not about emptying the mind or achieving a state of superhuman levity. It is profoundly practical. It is simply about observing reality as it is. Bring your attention to the small area around your nostrils. Notice the cool air entering as you breathe in and the slightly warmer air leaving as you breathe out. That is all. When you breathe in, know that you are breathing in. When you breathe out, know that you are breathing out. Naturally, your mind will wander. A thought will arise about tomorrow's meeting. An old memory will trigger a pang of regret, or a sudden noise will distract you. This is not a failure. This is the very nature of the mind. The practice is to simply observe the thought, acknowledge the feeling without judgment, and gently, patiently bring your attention back to the breath. Come back to the anchor. Each time you do this, you are building a muscle of concentration. As this concentration deepens in your formal practice, it begins to bleed into your daily life. When a colleague criticizes you, or traffic comes to a standstill, or a wave of anxiety hits you, are no longer a slave to your immediate reactions. You have created a sacred, spacious pause between the trigger and your response. In that pause, you have a choice. You can choose not to react out of anger. You can choose not to hoard regret. You are, in essence, building your own internal Damachetia, a magnificent, unshakable monument of peace right in the center of your own life. You may not be carving ancient scriptures into stone, but by living mindfully, you are engraving compassion, patience, and profound joy into every moment of your existence. May you take this key, open your heart, and walk gently in peace today and all the days of your beautiful life.